Okay, now it's 7 p.m. Let's call the meeting to order. Let's do roll call, please. Board.
Julie Fall.
Chris Webb. Board.
Michael Cornelia.
And Robin Kiswell. All board members are present. How about department heads? Is everybody here too? Excellent. Boom, boom. And Jamie's there too. I think she's in her office. Thank you all for showing up. I appreciate it. It's nice when we can answer questions. Approval of the agenda. There's actually 2 items we're going to add to the current agenda. It's going to be under new business. It will be 9C. It'll be regarding the website. And 9D regarding the time that we'll be starting the meetings in the future. I have an approval for the agenda, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
All in favor?
Yep.
Seconded and all in favor. Good, thank you. Approval of previous minutes. Everyone had a chance to review them?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Public comments that are non-agenda topics. Each member, anybody in the public that would like to have 5 minutes to speak?
This is Julie Lynn. I would.
Okay, Julie, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So none of these are really pressing issues, but I just had a couple questions. So one of them, I was wondering, again, I don't need an answer right away. It was just a thought. Is there any way we could put wood chips or gravel, maybe preferably wood chips, around the path around the lake? Doesn't have to happen right away because I know it's the middle of winter, but it gets muddy. I don't know, so maybe spring or summer next year.
Yeah, they have done that before, Julie, so that's good. Hey, Julie, what is your address, your full address, please?
166 Spruce Way.
Super, thank you.
Sure.
Anything else
Yeah.
besides chips?
Yeah, so another thing, so I am a neighborhood ambassador for Wildfire Adapted Partnerships, and I haven't really been doing much of anything with it, but I've been talking with Paul Valdez with Upper Pine, and so there's a couple things, and this is a very preliminary planning stages, but in early May, there's the NFPA has the Wildfire Preparedness Day, and so we were gonna have a meeting and maybe put together a little event for folks in the community. And so we have nothing more planned other than that. We're gonna have a meeting in January and try and formulate what we might want to do and how we might want to do it. But I wanted to give you guys a heads up and make sure that that's okay. And we were thinking of maybe doing it in the parking lot by the boarded up community center. And as things get more formulated together, we'll keep you guys in the loop. But if you have any objections to that, can you let me know now so I don't get too far down the road?
They've actually had that meeting there in the past. The fire mitigation meeting was held there at the rec center. Yes.
Yeah, we're thinking we'll do it outside because I know that building's in rough shape. So we're thinking doing like outside stuff and, you know, like having people learn how to trim trees and, you know, how to use loppers and maybe chainsaw safety. And those are some of the things we were thinking about doing.
I
Yeah.
don't know what outside would be such a good idea in January.
Well, not in January, but maybe in the spring
said
and
May.
stuff.
Oh, she said
In May.
May.
when they
I'm
have it.
sorry.
Next
I
meeting.
misheard you in our agenda.
Yeah, they'll have a meeting in January, but
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we're going to do a planning meeting in January, but the actual day that we'll do it will be the first Saturday in May. So the weather will be nicer. And then one last question I had, Corey, I had emailed you a while ago, and so I don't know if this ever happened or not. I'm just curious. I think you guys had mentioned you were going to do a traffic study in the neighborhood or have a consultant do a traffic study, and I'm just curious if that was ever done.
Been talking about it, and guys got us some traffic count numbers,
So I got traffic count numbers, yeah, I actually did get traffic count numbers for the, entryway. And I can't remember what they are, they're pretty substantial, but they should be reflected in the minutes.
Yeah.
Over
It was over 2,000, almost 3,000 cars
Yeah.
between both entryways coming and going.
We haven't actually done a traffic study inside Forest Lakes yet.
That was
Okay.
just the entrance, and that was in it should be in the minutes, the actual number should be in the
It should be in
minutes.
the minutes, and it was probably November's meeting, October, I guess.
October, maybe.
And, the county was doing, a traffic count on 501. And I asked them to, include our entryway, and they did so.
Very good.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a happy holidays.
You too.
Thanks, Julie.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Are there any other residents that have anything that they'd like to have brought forward? Not seeing anyone.
And that's 10.
No, that's the mouse. That's the mouse.
That's a mouse.
Gets us every time.
Yes.
It
does.
Very helpful.
Thanks. Okay, so that does it for public comments then. Let's go ahead and go to the presentation. We have an update on the solar project from Shaw Electric.
So my name's Kyle.
Kyle?
Yep. I'm Kyle. I'm started with Shaw Solar. And John Shaw, the owner of Shaw Solar, is also online to backing up, but I'll do most of the talking since I'm here in person. Rather than go through the individual questions that you sent me, Guy, I think I'll just kind of start off with like background, what the project is, how net metering works, what our contractual arrangement between Shaw Solar and Forest Lakes is. And then if there's outstanding questions after that, I think that answers most of the questions that I put out. So net metering, I'm gonna just start with how net metering works. Generally, during the day with the solar array, the solar is going to produce more than whatever building it's attached to is going to consume while the sun's shining. So we're exporting energy during the day, and that essentially you can think about it like running the meter backwards. And then at night, we're not producing anything, and so LPEA gives us credits for that. So we came to the board about 3 years ago with a proposal where we would build, own, and operate and maintain 3 solar arrays that would power the wastewater treatment plant, the maintenance building with the lift station there, and well one. And actually at the time, there's another lift station as a separate meter unit since consolidated. So there's 3 meters that we built arrays for. The contract is a 30-year contract where it looks a lot like a lease. Technically it's a solar service agreement. So it includes, we're responsible for monitoring, maintaining, if any equipment breaks, we replace it. Snow removal, that's all on us. So for the term of the contract. The contract is priced such that the rate stays the same for the 30 years, and the savings are coming from as LPA increases rates with inflation, we hold our rates steady. And so you can look in the contract and see year by year out to 2052 what your service agreement cost will be each year. And we just divide it evenly across the year. Each month is the same name, just for simplicity. So I'll pause there and just see if there's any questions.
Payment to who?
Payment to
LPEA or you?
to us. Yes, and it's
And then we also have the LPEA bills that we receive.
right. And so solar only offsets energy. Your LPEA bill has 3 components. There's the monthly service charge, and we can't do anything about that. There is energy charge, and that's what we offset. And then there's the demand charge. And, solar sometimes will help with the demand charge, but when we calculated the savings and put the proposal together, did the finances on this, we assumed no savings in the charges. The demand charge is your highest 15 minutes of usage for any given month will be that's what sets the demand charge for that entire month. So LPA really doesn't like it when you turn everything on at once and have really spiky, turning all the pumps on and then turning them off. They have to support and maintain all the infrastructure to deliver all of that power. And that goes into the calculation on the side of lines, transformers, and all of that. So that's where the demand charge comes from. Solar doesn't have that. The other important thing to just take note of with this is you're still connected to LPEA. You have the same reliability as you did prior to our connecting. And if LPEA has a power outage, the solar doesn't provide any added benefit from that unless batteries are added. We did engineer the system so that batteries could be added in the future. Right now we're not in three-phase high voltage batteries. The market's not quite there yet. And it's not something that I would recommend that you look at doing right now. But 4 or 5 years from now, it may be something that could save you money and give you added reliability for power outages. I know you guys are looking at generators right now. If we were having this conversation at some point in the future, if you were needing generators, then it might be a viable economic option. Right now, it probably isn't. So, pause there and see what questions you guys have. And John, did anything you want to add in on that?
Hi there, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. I think, Kyle, you, or perhaps listening, it sounds like the primary benefit, and just want to make this clear for everyone here, is energy savings over the life of the system. And so for the district, there's no upfront costs in building any of this. And so you don't have money invested in this solar. You basically allowed us to build it. And then we have an arrangement to deliver power to you at a discounted rate over La Plata Electric. And the expected savings over the project are well over $300,000 for the district with no costs and no change in the reliability that you will see. It will be exactly the same as if you didn't have solar from an LPA standpoint. So you'll still be getting the great LPA service quality and just at a discounted rate over the course of this 30-year project. And there is an opportunity for the district to purchase the system should it want to after 6 years at a price to be determined at that time at a fair market value for a system. And it's really important that previous boards don't saddle future boards with huge debt or huge balloon payments or anything like that. So this deal is structured that should the district want to do that, they could purchase the system and save more than double what we're able to provide to the district. And so the savings are good in our current arrangement, and should you want to buy it later, the savings would be even better. But just want to reiterate that it's all at no cost to the district either way, and no term where you have to buy it or you can't buy it. It's really after 5 years, it's up to the board.
So I have a question. The district pays you guys an amount every month. It's split out over 12 months, but it's yearly. then we pay electric bills.
Right.
Those electric bills, we're saving maybe 60% on our largest bill. And that goes up and down based on time of year, supply of sun, everything like that.
Mhm.
So where are we seeing the savings?
The savings, what you're paying us, it's hard to look at it. like
So
we-
is what we're paying you equal to what that 60% discount, the 40%, I'm sorry, it's roughly a 40% discount on our largest bill. Is that equal?
If you look at it over a 12-month period, it should come out equal. We've only been running since March. And so through certain parts of the year, we're going to be producing more and other parts we're producing less. Everything's at a lag. And so, we have in the contract a 3-year true up. So each year of the contract, we basically committed to deliver a certain number of kilowatt hours. And that's what the payments are based off of. If we didn't produce those kilowatt hours, then we have to write a check. So,
So just to be clear.
Yep.
So we have, not the solar array doesn't power everything. So let's say the 3 things it does power. 2 of them, we get a very minor discount on them. 1, we get about that 40% discount. So let's say that one's $1, right? So we paid 60 cents into it. We've saved 40 cents. How much are you charging us per month? More than 40 cents, do you think? Because if we're paying you more than 40 cents, then that just nullified the discount we're getting from paying for them.
right,
So I'm still trying to understand where the cost benefit to the district came from.
right. The cost benefit from the, like,
Does that make sense what I'm asking?
yeah, no, it's clear. And there are 2 different contracts because there are different rates that you're being charged from LPEA based on the meters that we're offsetting. So a large commercial meter, the rate is lower than a small commercial meter. And so for the large commercial meter, the rate is slightly above what your LPEA rate is today on that contract, but it doesn't change. It stays the same through 2052. And the other rate is a 5% discount on what you're paying today. So if you were, and we can meet after this meeting and, go through exactly which meters and look at the bills and work this out. But if we were looking at a meter that is on the small commercial rate, like well 1, what you're paying us would be a 5% discount to the savings that you're getting. So that you're looking at a $1 payment in your example. And you're paying 60 cents. And to us, it would be maybe 38 cents or 37 cents. That's looking at it on a over a 12-month period.
So what you're saying is we have not seen savings yet. We're expecting savings to materialize when this contract was held, the rates artificially low contractually, while the market rates are still going up.
Right.
So we haven't seen these savings yet. They're supposed to materialize.
No, there's 2 different contracts, and one of them is at a discount to today's rates by 5%. So
And the other one though is, I thought you said.
the other one's
Higher. So we're paying more. The more we
like
just,
0.8 of a cent.
So if we never built the solar,
Right.
and we're paying $1 a month for that one large meter. I don't understand the discount.
Right. So,
Because, I mean, their costs may go up, sure.
right.
They're not gonna be held low, and I know we've got this 30-year window or whatever. But we're waiting for their cost to go up to see savings.
So,
So
I
if
mean,
we-
this goes through 2052.
Okay.
So think of how energy costs have changed through. Let me back up. When we put together the proposal, this was pre-inflation. This was back when interest rates were, nominally zero. We were seeing inflation of 1 to 2% per year. We assumed over a contract, 30-year contract, that inflation would be 2.5%, and that LPEA's rates just stay with inflation. We've seen inflation since we average 7 to 8% per year. It's going to be hard to make up from that. LPEA's costs are going up with all of this. Their labor has gone up. Their materials have gone up. Our cost to build this definitely went up. And so right now, LPEA has been working hard not to have a rate change, but like they're not going to be able to hold their rates at their 2019 levels for forever. And so, we do expect to see, and we know that there's a rate change coming from Tri-State, which is where LPA purchases their electricity.
By the way, LPE is in a lawsuit or considering suing them.
Yeah.
Suing Tri-State.
I saw that headline. I haven't read that already.
Who signed the service agreement?
The board. Yeah, previous board.
So the board took a vote on it, signed it.
Yes.
So we don't see basically any savings for years from now.
No, there's 2 contracts, and one of them, there are savings right now.
Is it offset by the other contract?
Right now, I think if we ran the numbers, it'd be cost neutral.
So where's the benefit to the community?
Benefit to the community is twofold. I'd say three major pieces from it. One is, what your energy rates are going to be for 30 years for a large number of your a large proportion of your electrical consumption. So there's value in having a certain, amount being insulated from LPA pricing increases for a large portion of your rates. That would be one benefit. Second benefit is, in the future, if you want to add in batteries for reliability or cost savings. So remember, we were talking about the demand charges that you're hit with for those 15-minute peaks. Batteries can offset those right now. And then there's also like ancillary benefits that those batteries can provide to the utility. Right now, there's not a great program to get that monetized. In the future, there will be. This is something that the utility needs, something that the whole system needs. So that having the solar and the battery, you didn't have to pay for the solar. You can have a battery backup at some point in the future when that becomes economic.
So we do have a bill to you guys every month though.
You do.
So to say that there is no charge to the community, it's not entirely accurate, right? So we do pay a bill, right?
You do pay a bill, but
Okay, and what is that bill?
That bill
Per year? You said it's divided by 12?
Yeah, divide by 12 is,
8,000 something.
no, I think it's 40. It's in the $4,000 range between the 2 contracts.
I'm sorry,
4,000.
4,000 what though?
I don't know exactly. 4,400, 4,500. I don't have it off the top of my head.
John, no? Can we
Get that? I know, I can definitely get that.
what was the rest of it?
Let me see, I may have. Yeah. So the wastewater treatment plant annual rate is $27,787 per year. And 27,787.
Just for the sewer?
Yes. And then the maintenance shop and well run is $21,661. Now I was looking at what we've been producing over the summer, just as an example. For the wastewater treatment plant, we provided more energy than the plant used in May and July. In other months, we provided a large proportion of what the plant used. Now, that doesn't mean your bill's zero. That's one of those meters that is split between, half your charges may be coming from demand and half it's coming from energy. So if you look back at your energy costs for the wastewater treatment plant in May and July, you should find that, our metering cycles and their billing cycles may be slightly off, but you should find some bills that there's no energy charge or very little energy charge. Well, number one, since we've started production, we've covered every kilowatt hour that you've used.
There's not, out of the 3 charges on a bill, one of those has been reduced.
Yes. The monthly rate.
So that's why when we're looking at a bill, the consumption part, billing for the hourly kilowatt, that may have been reduced. That's the smallest part of the bill. Then you have the other parts that are much larger. So we're still paying noticeable bills. So that one part is what we're seeing the reduction in. So that's 1/3 of, we're seeing is 50% reduction in 1/3 of the bill.
That I'm
60%, somewhere there.
I mean, there's 3 components. One is your monthly service charge, which is like, we're talking. John, do you know the monthly service charge for small commercial and large commercial? Each of them's $100.
They're right in the $30 range. I think it might be worth taking a step back and, to answer some of your questions. We're getting lost in the weeds here. We've got a spreadsheet where you can see all of those numbers, but basically let's say we were making half the power for the district on these 3 sites, and just giving an example. And we were making half and you were buying half from La Plata Electric. And let's say your bill was $100 a month. You're paying us about 50 and LPA about 50. And as LPA rates rise, ours will stay at 50. And that's where your savings come in. And so the district doesn't have expenses now or loans or anything like that going against the solar system. And so the gist of this was basically long-term savings and predictable energy cost for the portion of the electricity. The demand charge, we had no way to affect that. So that is just as it always was. The base charge may go up. That's always how it was. So that was never really part of the deal. So yeah, there's 3 parts to the bill, but 2 of those parts were never considered, nothing was promised. So what we're talking about is that energy charge portion. And we are going to deliver great savings to the utility. And another portion of why the board went for it was, aside from, in addition to the savings, was making clean power on site to run your facilities. There's property value increase for people in the district. And, that part of the deal should not be overlooked, even though it was based on a financial decision. But that's also part of it.
I'm curious to get to that solar field though.
We did. Yeah, the carbon, look at the carbon offsets between the value those trees provide versus the offset from the solar. There's not a comparison there. But when we put together the proposal and how we based our prices, was never on the demand charge. We've never said that that's something that we can offset, and we're not. We don't offset it, and we're not basing our prices off of that. So you do still see a bill from La Plata Electric. But that was always something that solar runs. And so in our rates, we don't have a flat monthly rate where there's no value provided. Our rate is fully based on what we're delivering to you.
So if we're paying $4,120 a month, that's what the check wrote out this month was, right? So we multiply that by 12, which is just about $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then we times that by 30, right? For the life of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 1.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
Will those solar panels ever generate $1.4 million worth of savings?
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, and I can sit down with the spreadsheet and show you where we can.
So if we're barely making a difference between what we paid for La Plata alone and a little bit of cost savings now that we have solar, how are we making that up?
The two payments combined, like
But we would have had that payment already. So you're telling me
right now, you're
with
splitting.
solar and La Plata versus just La Plata, you're saying there's that number in savings over 30 years.
Saying that the amount that you're paying La Plata will be reduced by that amount or more over 30 years.
This spreadsheet you talked about, is that before or after interest rates increase? Has it been redone? to reflect
That was all before interest rates.
I understand that, since that's happened, you've redone the model so we can look at it.
I'd be happy to. It'll show up much larger savings. You know, the proposals that we're putting forward today.
The way I see it is we're gonna be ending up paying about the same. It's just you're gonna get that difference, your company.
If La Plata never changes their rates in 30 years, your statement's accurate. But do you think that's likely?
You're betting what's to come.
Right. So we also have the past history of how rates have gone up, and it's similar. We based this off of what we thought inflation would do, and we didn't take a view of how energy would change relative to inflation. Inflation is going to be 2%. That's a conservative estimate. I think we're going to see much more than that. Energy costs are going to be the same, inflation adjusted as we were.
So are all the buildings over there covered then, or are there some that are also? How many,
So we are connected to the maintenance shop
three,
and well one and
One lagoon,
the wastewater treatment plant entirely.
all of them?
And a couple of, this is getting into the weeds a bit, but as an example, for the maintenance shop, we're not, and we never will offset all of the energy for that. Your payments aren't based on that. We were limited, we were constrained in the size of system we could build based on the size of LPA's transform. And so, I'd have to look at it. Maybe we're targeting 60% of the energy that you're going to be using there, but the payments are adjusted accordingly.
So we have to upgrade the transformer? Then they're paying for a transformer? There's a new one down there.
Yeah, that wasn't communicated, like the timing just didn't.
I don't know.
When we built and designed the project, it was before the transformer upgrade. And I know you guys were looking at doing a transformer upgrade along with the generator project. I don't know if that actually happened or not. So, yeah,
And sizing of this was based upon current usage and not future usage.
right.
Because if you do an expansion on the sewage treatment like that, everything changes.
Yeah, and we intentionally undersize our systems. We don't want to produce more than you consume. The economics get eroded if we do that. So.
Does that not go into an energy bank through LPEA? As far as the grid?
You'll get a one-for-one credit on an annual basis. Let's say you consume 100 units of energy. We produced 101. You'll get a one-for-one credit for those 100 that you consumed, but that one extra that you produced that you didn't consume, LPA pays back at wholesale rate, and that's just erodes the economics. So we try not to do that. Intentionally try to undersize the system so that we're not overproducing on an annual basis. And again, the contract prices are all adjusted for that accordingly. We're not saying, hey, we're going to cover 100% of your electricity and billing you as if we're covering 100% of your electricity. We're saying, in the case of the maintenance job, we're going to cover 60% of your electricity. When I say electricity, just your energy usage. And the payments are based on that.
You want to continue pushing? So right now, I just had a solar system put on my home 2 years ago. Those panels are not expected to have a 30-year lifespan. But I continue to have my cells monitored. So if one starts to drop off, they will send somebody out to replace that cell.
Mm-hmm.
Are you monitoring in the same method?
Yeah.
Okay, so in say 20 years, you're operating at 30% because all this stuff degrades. Okay, so it's only operating at 30%. Where's your point where you come in and say, okay, we said we produce this much, we're going to switch all these out for you. Is that going to be a cost or is that on you?
So back up. These panels are commercial panels. They have a 30-year manufacturer's warranty that includes what it should produce each year. So it has an expected degradation, and that's all built into what we're committing to producing. So if it's producing less than that, one of two things can happen. Either we make a case and get panels replaced, and then we're back up on par, or we look at it as I mentioned earlier, we do a 3-year true up. Every year of the contract, we have a certain number of kilowatt hours that we're contractually obligated to provide. We don't provide those, we have to pay you back. So if we're underproducing and we haven't replaced the panels, then we write you checks. So it's not, in the degradation rate that we're assuming is 0.5% per year. And from what we've seen, these systems tend to outlive the 30-year expectation. And at the end of the 30 years, this system becomes a property. So, if there's another 5 years of life at 80% capacity, that's free to this. In 15 years, we expect the inverters to go out. The inverters have a 15-year warranty, and that's part of the maintenance contract. We pay to have those inverters replaced as they fail. So there should be one inverter replacement through the life of the contract.
So does this mean that if we go to the new sewer wastewater treatment plant, then these would not support it?
Which isn't going to change your savings or the contract. It's just
scale.
It's just scale. Yeah. So rather than targeting 90% of your consumption on the new plan, maybe we're targeting 60% of your consumption. But the savings are still there. The payments don't change. It's not like because we're not covering 100% of the new plan, that is a bad deal. You're losing money on this at all.
So contractually, what upgrade, maintenance, anything like that, what are the residents responsible for?
Nothing.
Everything will be covered under you guys.
Yeah.
I guess we're in charge of monitoring and contracting, but just.
I heard something about you guys take care of the snow as well. We're not plowing it or whatever.
We bought a piece of equipment, specialized piece of equipment to clear the snow out from in front of the arrays with the blower. So we're not plowing snow in that area. That's on us.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Did you know that?
Any other question?
One question. Are they still using a capacitor backup versus a battery backup in some of these utility systems that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. It's all, right now, lithium ion is what's being used commercially. There's some new technologies out there that always seem like they're gonna be ready tomorrow. But yeah, iron air, I think, is gonna be the next big chemistry that we see. Well, I appreciate being able to come and clarify the arrangement that we have with you all. And
Yeah, it did clear up some. Yeah.
yeah, you have my contact info. If this sparked more questions, then, please reach out to me and we can meet up with a computer and, it's probably easier to go through all of this with that spreadsheet and show, the other side of this is after 5 years, John mentioned this earlier, but there's an opportunity for the district to buy the arrays and take over the maintenance. And the savings on that, I can help you run net present value calculations. There's significant savings by owning the system. So, it's something to consider, 4 years down the line.
I'm assuming you have a copy of the service agreement? Okay. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, and if not, we can provide it.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you all for having me
Thank you
over.
for
And,
having
yeah, please
Thanks
do
for
reach
coming
out.
in. Thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, John.
Okay, moving on to the committee updates. Budget.
Budget, there is nothing, guys, got everything under control. Yeah.
That works. Recreation. We have nothing,
No updates at this time.
nothing current up there.
No doubt.
No.
Personnel,
Nothing.
nothing there either.
You guys wanna talk about the ad hoc or?
And we do have the ad hoc. A couple of you guys are working on that and have met and making progress, I'm hearing.
So we've met twice now, and we are continuing to look over the rules and regulations. The past of forest lakes and trying to revise it to our current situation, trying to eliminate some of the rules and regulations of the old and bring it up to date with what this community needs. And so we continue to meet, and we will meet probably a number of times more before the official kind of putting out information, what we've come to, right? So.
Very good.
And one thing I will add is I reached out to the legal counsel for the district. Some of what we're gonna deal with is in the district's service plan that was approved in the 70s. It has very antiquated notions on how to put a pipe in the ground, what type of pipe you use, so and so I received confirmation from legal counsel that we can use the rules and regs to supplant those archaic, what's called out in that 1970s about document. I mean, it's referring to AWWA stuff from like 1964 and stuff. So we can supersede that with the rules and regs that will be
Good,
delivering.
make it current.
And thank you, Corey, for providing a lot of that information. It's been very, very helpful.
Good.
It's like reading Greek upside down, but it's been helpful.
Glad to agree. Okay, so that's the ad hoc. Reports from the staff, and again, thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate the department heads being here to share and answer questions as we come up with them too. That helps us. Thank you. District manager, you're up.
Thank you. Jamie, can you share the screen, please? I don't know if this is going up to. Is this going out to people to view, or are you just seeing us?
What am I looking for? What are you sharing?
I'm putting up a spreadsheet.
Okay.
Allow us to share our screen.
What's the name of the spreadsheet, Kai?
www fee increase thumbnail.
I am not seeing it on my end.
Got it, girl.
You can go check with Jamie.
Yeah.
Well, that's getting work done. I do want to talk about the potential wastewater fees, so that's what I'm going to show. Talk about this
I
committee.
I see all my junk on my screen.
We can hear you, Jamie.
Right. Take over.
Lake Simpatico Dam inspection. They are still reaching out to the state to try to get that done. Everybody saw the new budget adoption schedule, and then beginning January 2nd, the hours of operation for this building are going back to 8 a.m. to 4:30. Instead of that weird kind of lunch system thing we had.
Guy, can you hit screen share on your end, please?
Is this being seen, or? There we go.
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to get in. So can you guys see that? Okay. This is. Thank you, Corey. And move this to the sucker one. Okay. So let me explain this spreadsheet that I've built. The items in blue are your sewer service fee in district, part-time in district, out of district, full-time and out of district, part-time, and then sewer service availability fee. If you notice off to the side, this is the percentage of what that fee is out of the total, and that's represented down here in your pie graph. Consider it this way: the ones in blue, the numbers in blue, as you can see, we have 433 full-time in-district people who are right now paying $46.29 per month. Everything is in blue. Consider that what you would use for operations. That's your day-to-day operations. That's what that should pay for. In the kind of maize color, the dark yellow color, that is sewer plant investment fee, sometimes called a PIF, plant investment fee. You have that for in-district, out-of-district, wastewater service connection fee. Those are kind of one-offs. So everything in blue, we kind of bill monthly for the user. Everything that's in gold is kind of a one-off. A developer comes in and they're going to build a house and they're in district, they pay an $8,500 PIF, for example. So those are hit and miss. Sometimes you've had 7 in a year, sometimes you've had 0. I'm going to leave them out of that model. The blue in blue is what we see monthly. And so that's the number we're gonna concentrate on. So if you get over here, this is what your budgeted expenses for the wastewater have looked like for a decade. They average about $449,000 a year, right? So let's go up here. Right now, we have, on this example, we have $293,000 of income. You can see that number right there. That's the total. Here's what it is per month. Here's what it is per year, right? Then you have your Tabor transfer, which I talk about ad nauseum. That's 10%. So that's 29,375 of that 293,75 right there. That's at 10%. So right now, if we were to look, and I'm in 2024, we're going to make it. This is all talking about 25, okay, fiscal year 25. If we were right now to look at this, you would see that you're coming up about $125,000 short annually. Okay. This year in 24, that's made up because you guys did that really big $440,000 transfer that on paper happened 2 years ago. You guys approved it earlier this year. That increased the fund balance enough to get through fiscal year 24 and have about $5,000 or $6,000 in the bank. Fiscal year 25, because you can't do that transfer anymore, you're going to be well short. So the two numbers you're looking at here is, what am I short here? And then let's say we buy a $10 million sewer plant. What the heck, we want to do a little shopping. We buy ourselves a nice plant. Comes out to about $500,000 in capital in principal and interest annually. That's how much we'd be short annually. So let's go over here to our multiplier. Okay. And let's try 125%. Okay. And let's increase all those in blue 125%. 25% increase. Your bill went from $46.29 a month to $57.86 a month. You're going to see $138 annual increase. You're still $45,000 short. Let's go to 140. At a 40% year-over-year increase, you are looking at barely breaking even. You have zero money to put into savings for further development down the road. You have no money set aside for a rainy day. You are just covering your costs, and you're looking at roughly a 40% increase. And for the average user, which is most of these 433 right here, you're looking at $222 annual increase. Now, this is where it really gets fun. Let's say, how are we going to cover that cost in a couple of years? Well, the sewer plant. Oh, 100% increase. You're still $304,000 annually short. Let's take this number and increase it. Let's go 350%. Then you'd have about $176,000 annual left over. Let's get this down straight 300%. You're looking roughly, and so how I got that $500,000 right here is $10 million over 40 years at 4% interest. Interest and principals are roughly around $480,000 annually. I just rounded up for examples to 500,000. You are not looking at a $10 million plant. You are probably closer to a 12 to 14 to $16 million plant. Again, this is just wastewater. This has nothing to do with water. This is just the wastewater side. But I wanted to show in a model sense what we as a district are facing for revenue and expenditures. A couple notes on that. You don't have a lot of fat to cut out of your budget. We are right now kind of pinching nickel until it's screaming dime. So you have that issue. And the second issue is I would be real careful. These you can change, like if we're doing a 40% increase, your 10% annual increase that you guys set in motion 2 or 3 years ago, all got eaten up because we're no longer transferring over $200,000 from the general to enterprise, water or wastewater enterprise. Now we're only 37,000, I think was that number.
To me, it seems like we need to have the rate study that was done, have it redone, but it was done based on bad info. Stuff was happening that shouldn't have been happening, and numbers weren't where numbers were supposed to be.
I would suggest this spreadsheet is your rate study. We're looking at the stripped down of numbers as we can get. These are all your inputs, right? So we're not calculating for increase in interest, and we're not calculating for all those things. We're just calculating as close to as real numbers as we can get. But I would, you can go ahead and do the rate study again, because you're going to need some sort of documentation, right? If you're going to raise rates, you're going to have some sort of documentation to back on. You had that rate study. I went and looked at the rate study. It never mentioned Tabor. So that's why when you get rid of the Tabor part, the transfer, that's why everything goes to hell in a handbasket with the revenue side. Right. Specifically for your sewer. Your water in your general, or your water's limping along, but it's making it, your sewer's going to get hammered. So you can redo a rate study, but I think really what you're looking at is come next summer, you're going to have a real come to Jesus conversation. Come to the dead president's conversation about.
So even though we've got an increase scheduled for September.
You just went through a 10% increase this year.
We've got another one.
Your next opportunity to, on the schedule you guys have set aside or have adopted, your next one will be next September. I think you've got to have this conversation to make that decision. Because you can say, hey, look, we got 5 houses, let's say, 5 new houses they're developing. They came in, woohoo, we're flush, extra amount of money, right? We got $42,000 coming in from that PIF. But that is not a sustainable revenue stream. These are all predicated on people coming and developing. And some years you may get 1, some years you may get 10, some years you may get 0. These in blue are static, and we know how many users. We know if they're full of part-time. We know what their rate is. And and then by the way, that's where 3/4 of your money is anyway, right there.
Well, I also think the other thing we need to talk about too is this discounted rate for a part-time resident. That is mind-boggling to me why it doesn't cost us any. It's not cheaper for us to make the water when they're here, so why are they just getting to pay half? They should have to pay one set fee, not, oh, you live here 12 months or 8 months, you have to pay $46.29, but Joe Blow that only lives here for 5 months and then Airbnb's his house the rest of the time he's not here is only paying $36.91.
I would suggest that all those issues are on the table for discussion. So I wanted to get you and your neighbors thinking about this. I want to put this reality in front of your guys' face. And we have a long time to talk about this, but come next summer, July, August, we're going to have to make some decisions. And as everybody knows, the number 1 decision in every decision chart is to not do anything. So, but there you will be in a heap of trouble in about 8 months.
And I agree with you. There's a lot of Airbnb, there's a lot of rentals, so those people may show that they are part-time residents and they may be using their homes for something else, for other people.
When you talk of like a 40% increase, who's speaking speaking of just that one segment, this water sewer, or the sewer.
Just the sewer.
Just sewer.
Just sewer.
Just sewer.
not
just sewer.
across the-
Not
Just-
across the board.
just-
It's just the sewer.
So I have actively in the budget and how I communicate with staff and how I communicate with citizens. Am doing my best to put up gigantic walls between general fund, which is tax-based, and your two revenues. I'm sorry, enterprises, water and sewer, which are fee-based. And again, you can only move 10% over from Tabor. You guys have subsisted a long time in that huge transfer. That's no longer an option to you. Well, it's an option to you. It's not a good option.
I'm curious, well, you have this spreadsheet open if you don't mind. Can you just move the part-time into the full-time and see what that does?
27 additional
To be the
people.
same fees.
So 46.
460. Yeah. There you go. I don't know.
How many of you guys are on the current sewer system?
No, we got
So
section.
these 10 people, now we're looking at a $444 annual increase. So we don't have to make decisions tonight, obviously, but it is incumbent upon my position as your guys' district manager to be very honest with you guys. Made a commitment to grab you guys by the collar, and speak honestly to you. That is what I'm doing. My nickname of Mr. Happy Sunshine continues. I'm more than willing to let anybody have this spreadsheet. It's a very, very simple spreadsheet. You can toggle the numbers all you want to your heart's content. I think what you're gonna find is this number right here won't drop below 75% no matter how you. That's the bulk of the people who pay for the service.
So if I may ask, if you do a 40% increase on our current fee rate, what will that increase be so that people listening and myself can say, okay, I'm gonna need to add, because right now I'm paying $131 a month for my whole bill. How much is gonna actually be added to that bill?
Well,
So-
From 4629 to 6481.
I can't.
yeah,
see that.
so right now for sewer, that portion that you pay for sewer is $46.29 each month. Okay, with this increase, it would make it $64.81, so about $14.
So for a total annual increase of about $222 just on your wastewater.
Yeah, so divide by 12, so that's $20 a month. That's even.
But that's not enough.
And again, it's,
That's only 40%.
That gives you- Well, so this is,
That doesn't get you.
this, yeah, it doesn't get you a new plan and it keeps you,
In the negative still.
it gives you a little bit of positive, but not a ton.
So
Like you're looking at a couple $1,000s a year after all said and done. And if we have any emergency issues, if anything we have to purchase, if anything, electric prices go crazy, whatever, you're gonna burn through that.
So factoring in a new sewage system for say, let's just figure $12,000, okay?
Really,
12 million?
Or 12 million, I'm sorry.
that's doable.
Being an old guy, I have slips here.
Write the check.
Anyways, say $12 million. What is gonna be our break even where we don't owe anything, but we don't really have a cushion? I mean, just a flat line. What's the increase to get us there again?
roughly 250% increase. So 100% right now is, 100% of 4629 is 4629. So that's, I kind of did that. So you're looking at 200 some odd percent increase.
Okay.
Total for just wastewater. So you're looking at what was the number,
$1,200.
$1,200 a year just for
So that would be $100 a month.
Like 130, right?
roughly there.
Would be about the increase.
Somebody would be a big hit too.
Oh, yeah.
If I was independently wealthy, like for
I have kids.
And obviously, we're looking for ways around this. Obviously, we're looking for ways to decrease these costs.
Like grants or anything else that might come out.
Yeah, low interest loans, whatever it might be. But again, still, as a model of a 4% loan over 40 years, you're still looking at interest and principal, roughly about $500,000 on a $10 million.
I have a question, is our plant like out of date, basically?
No, the state, in my understanding, and he will correct me if I am wrong about this, but anyway, understanding is the state has new requirements or is going to have new requirements that our plant will not be able to meet in how our plant works. So we want to go from a biological plant to a mechanical plant. And
That's pretty much the gist of it. They go through the state, and they they will look at a particular basin, like in this instance, the Pine River drainage here. And they will evaluate every wastewater system on that drainage. And they will issue a new permit at that time. And you may have an ammonia limit that's here right now, and it might be like that when they get done with it. There's no way lagoons can usually meet those ammonia limits. Especially, I don't know if you've been over the Pine last couple of days, but it looks like it's flowing maybe 30 CFS now. We're putting almost that much into it. So the dilution factor goes way down. So their wisdom figures all that stuff in there. And it's highly probable that we will end up with a mechanical plant. Either we're preparing for it, or the state says you're going to do it and now you're reactive. That's the one thing that you gotta start thinking about.
And on top of that, the state's trying really hard to phase out the lagoons.
How much was Edgemont's plant, do you know?
It was originally supposed to be about 5 million. It was fully funded at the 5.5 million. Because of the technology that they chose, which is an Austrian technology that's been around for 150 years, works in small mountain communities. The state dragged their feet about 1.5 years on that. By the time they were done with that, the price had gone up 3.5 million. I think they got it bid at 8.5, but it cost more like 9.5. So they had to go back and get more money, like twice.
That's a lot smaller system than we need, right?
No, it actually will service about 825 homes. We're servicing 433. Unless we extend some mains right now and get 300 more people on there paying, then, I mean, that's cost money, but more people paying might be an option. I don't know. So what's the number of septic systems in that? Close to half. Yeah. So that's one of the things I'm going to bring up when I go through my thing. And I was going to kind of educate you guys, but I'll just do it real quick if you want me to.
Yeah, now's a good time.
So when you hear me say we treated a little over 4 million gallons of drinking water, and then you hear me say that we treated only 1.2 million gallons of wastewater, it seems like a pretty big discrepancy. So those 433 residences that are on the sewer system, roughly half are sending their water to the wastewater plant. So right away, it's almost half. The other thing is we have about 700,000 gallons on the hill in storage at any given time. And you really do the numbers there, it does come out about half. The people on the septic systems are using that other half of the water, but it's not coming back to us at the wastewater. Because it's going into their septic systems. So if you just look at the numbers, you think, oh my gosh, we're leaking like crazy. When I look at it, I'm like, that's not too bad for where we're at. So I did a quick calculation while Guy was talking. If you were to pay $200 a month, you could own your $40,000 septic system in 17 years.
So when he's talking about raising it that much, it's very similar to what you would pay for a septic system nowadays. I mean, I think septic systems can probably be had for less than that. It depends on the contractor, but or whether you're capable of doing it yourself and getting through sound on this and how. So with those two things in respect, I just thought it's hard to, you wouldn't be able to tell that in the summertime because so much water goes out on people's yards. Then it really looks cattywampus. And you know this, I mean, but in the wintertime, like now, those things come down to something reasonable when people ain't watering it. You find out that, hey man, about half and half is about right. We have like 860 taps. 850, 865, I think is what we have meters, but some of those are our stuff too. So, probably half.
Are there any plans to like extend the septic, like through streets that don't have it, that have water?
That's a big question that I have as well. And I have people more concerned with water than sewer. As a source of income for the wastewater side, I think you'd have to do a cost analysis on it to find out if putting in mains and bringing on 100 more people would take that down, or it wouldn't pay for itself for a number of years, but. And you can't force people to connect unless there's the infrastructure within, what is it, 400 feet? Yeah, I think it's less than that actually. I'm just going at 400 feet, just below the coast of my head. If they have a septic system that never fails, you cannot force them to connect, so it's really not a source of revenue. The only time we can force anybody to connect to our utilities on the septic is when it fails and we're within, I believe it's 400 feet, but I could be wrong. Seems like a long ways. Yeah, to run a service from. I could be wrong. 400 is what pops in my head for whatever reason. It's one of those things where I don't, people have houses all along a lot of our streets now that don't have that sewer system in there. The only people that would be able to come onto the system, I guess, would be people that don't already have a septic, because then you're providing service. So,
Sorry, bad joke. Yeah. So, but I guess I'm one of those that does have septic, and right below me is the sewer line. And, it's kind of one of those things, like you said, if everything's working out fine, like what's the benefit to connect? Right. But long-term resale, you're kind of better off having sewer, for some people, of connecting. So I look at it kind of both ways. It's like, it would be nice to have it, but.
Well, and the state keeps doing the same thing with those, right? When you go to sell it, you gotta make sure you're up to par with the state. So, people have to reinvest more money into those. Yeah. Just wonder if we could get more people on the 433 number somehow easily. It's probably not cheap. There's no cheap
turning out cheap.
Yeah.
Are the people, what's the area down on the other side of the road? Are they connected to our sewer system as well?
River Ranch area?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lift station over there, so we service them with water and
that's why. And are those numbers?
That's the out of district.
That's
They are out of district.
Out of district, okay.
And to answer Chris's comment, Guy, you showed different percents of increases. Are you saying that 140 is what you would propose to the board? This is purely an academic exercise. I'm making no proposal this time. I just want to let people see how I'm doing my math. I have no problem giving the spreadsheet to anybody who would like it. It's very simple. So I'm not making a proposal at all. I'm trying to get this issue on the table. One thing that makes this math easy is you guys do flat rates. It's not based on consumption. A lot of places for sewer, how they charge their sewer is they take the average first 4 months of your water, do a calculation, and then that gives you their sewer rate theory being the less water you use, the less water you put in the sewer plant, so therefore your part should be smaller. But your water is based on tiered use. Your sewer is based on a flat fee that is calculated users time fee equals.
Did that answer all the questions that were up there as well?
I think so. So, any other questions about my report, or you guys just want me to leave? Or as Robin says, stop talking. Okay. Thank you.
And thanks, Mark. Did you get all your? Okay, guy, you got everything.
Unless anybody has any questions.
Let's go ahead and move on to Director of Administration, Jamie.
All right, hello.
Hi, Jamie.
Everything, the only thing out of the norm or what we've been doing is, I've been working on the 2024 renewals for property and liability, the workers' comp, health insurance, life insurance. Have it all broke out so you could see the difference in premiums. And we've also set up training for employees through the CSD pool. And that is something that we can utilize throughout the year. They have several different training programs. And if we all participate, all the employees, we can get a discount credit that'll be applied on next year's term. And the rest of my report pretty much goes over our normal routine. Let me know if you have any questions.
What is CSD?
It's the Colorado, it's the same company that we go with for our insurance, Colorado Special Districts.
But what is the training?
Whatever you want to take, it's a wide range.
Stuff to choose from, so
First aid.
trenching, first aid, ergonomics, workplace ergonomics, sexual harassment type stuff. So they have, I don't know, 30 or 40 trainings. City side has the same thing through their insurance company, but it's just a common way to train your staff, and then they give you a discount on your.
So it's not just office stuff, it's also like maintenance.
They have some maintenance stuff. They have,
Yeah.
you know,
Water,
ergonomics,
wastewater.
Yeah,
they have
body mechanics.
all those things. Some of them are cheesy, some of them are really helpful. But if we go through them and we record that.
And it's no cost to Forest Lakes.
Very good.
I have a question, and this is probably more for Guy on the CBIT health insurance renewal. When we had talked to you, when we were interviewing you, I thought you had mentioned that there was a review somewhere that you had worked at. You went and reviewed all the health benefits and everything just to see if it was a good program. Are you thinking about doing that again here?
I will probably do that this coming year. The last time I worked at, we totally revamped our health insurance. Our big issue there, and we have it here, is one check a month, you know, may go to your partner to pay for their insurance. We cover the employee 100%. It's hard on the other family members. Now, in the Front Range, you have a lot more providers to choose from. Here, you're a little more limited as to what you can get insurance wise. But it's, you know, we went through a consulting firm. They get paid for every policy they can pick up. So they worked for us because they wanted us to enroll. So they're, what they were trying to get accomplished works really well, but they're motives, our motives. I still have that consulting firm, there's some consulting firms that do it, and they handle onboarding and stuff like that, but. You know, every couple of years, you probably should review your insurance. And right now I'm using it too, so.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious because any company I've been with, the employee pays part of it and then the company pays the majority of it. But here we're paying 100%.
And I know you, and you mentioned that last meeting too. I don't think I've ever worked in a place where I had to share premium. It was always 100% carried.
It was news to me because I've never worked anywhere where it was
You said it, yeah.
just the opposite, yeah.
That's strictly for the employee.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
only.
What I'm putting, it's pretty expensive. I looked into adding my wife and kids on, it would be between 1,000 and 1,600 a month.
Yeah, and that's pretty standard. I mean, you know, I don't carry my husband. He's on something else because it would cost me, you know, quite a bit at my company. And I already pay probably 20%. And then the company pays the rest. I'm just thinking about, you know, a review, not saying that I want you guys to have to pay, but you know, maybe we need to look at the health benefits too, and maybe we can find another cheaper option.
With good coverage.
With
as
good
well.
coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Does anybody else have any questions for Jamie at this time with regard to her reporting to us here?
No.
Thank you, Jamie, for bringing all that stuff into us too. Mark, did you want to finish up your?
I just figured a couple highlights here. So, we responded to a sewer service blockage on Alpine Forest Drive. And which required some excavation and stuff like that, on our side as well. They had some blockage there, we had some blockage on our side. Anyway, it got taken care of. We did finish the fire hydrant testing for this year. We got 100% of them exercised. The ones that we could flow without destroying people's homes, we flowed. And we've lost a couple valves at the wastewater plant this last month. They have been repaired. Me too. At that time of year. Had some weird stuff happening with some of our electricity around here recently. It was interesting to hear Kyle talk about how Flat Electric is really good. I sort of have my doubts about their power based on what I've seen here recently. We're getting well 4 dropping out quite a bit. We had to open up a range so that the device would allow it to run. So we're probably running 495 volts, which is a little more than 480. And maybe something that I contact with Flat Electric to see if they can downgrade their transformer just a little bit. We started seeing some problems with the pump station of that timber as well. Not the pumps themselves, but the sensing device throwing all kinds of codes at us and dropping out. It just happens to seem kind of coincidental that all this work took place and now we're starting to experience some things like that. Anyway, that's just kind of one of those things that bring your attention. I'm sure we'll work through it and figure something out.
I have a question about that. Because I experienced this in Durango. They upgraded a bunch of power service around one of our lift stations. They had the old 1-phase meter, electric meter. So they didn't change that meter out, and it was causing our transducer to keep essentially getting fried. So could that be a case of they upgraded the electrical service and then?
It's entirely possible that it's all connected. I can't, I'm not an electrician. It just seems awfully coincidental. I think 495 is a little bit hot personally. I know there's some places that run at 500, but most of them are designed 480, somewhere in there, which is pretty standard. But I don't know, without contacting them and finding out if they could tune that down a little bit, that'd be my choice to go with. Maybe just all this work they did just make things so much better that it's already up here now. I don't know. But we did have a pretty good sized leak. I think you guys probably read about it. Was an AC pipe, right over the top of a culvert, or right underneath the culvert actually. And what we found was there was a rock right at the break underneath it. So it had finally settled and the pipe had finally gone and done one of those. That one required not only us, but several of Daryl's folks came and helped us too, because we needed trucks and all kinds of stuff. So it was one of those things where we actually worked together on some stuff.
Well, look at you go.
I wanted to talk a little bit about this prop study from Neptune, in case you guys were wondering about that. This is something that it's kind of like if you want to read meters, Shauna would hit the go button and it would read the meters from her desk.
From this system.
And then, yes, we would require, they call them gateways, but they're basically towers that would communicate and be able to read our meters around the mountain. There's a couple positives to it. If somebody comes in and says, I didn't use this much or this much water, there's no way Shauna could pull it up right there on the computer and go, well, it says here on the 15th that you had a leak that used 3,000 gallons in one day. It also, so it would give those kinds of instantaneous, I could look at that right away things. It would also allow us, when we suspect we have a leak, to try to eliminate residences. Because then we could look for a high usage flag that would say, okay, you don't have to drive all 27 miles. You might want to go check out this residence and see if that's where it's at. Turn them off. That's what's going on. It's not cheap.
I was just gonna ask, is it costly?
Probably, this would be something that would be maybe in the budget for the water 25 or something that we could look forward to. Or maybe sooner, but about $20,000 per tower installation, and then also getting them to talk and do the things they're supposed to do.
And the meters we have in now are capable of being hooked into this mesh system.
Yeah, we're replacing the old RF ones that you'll see the box. We got like 12 of those here recently. There's a plan to replace those. Well, what I found since I've been here is that there's enough to replace that you have to go back and read each month that it's not really a problem so far to find the ones you need to replace. Some of those meters will have, that I've seen here so far, 1.5 million gallons through it. And if you know anything about water meters, they never run fast. They always run slow. From the time they start, they slow down. So if you've got one with 1 million gallons through it, you're losing a few pennies, a few dollars per month. Because it's not recording accurately.
How many towers would it need?
4 is what they're saying on the study.
Gateways, it's really a problem.
I thought it'd be more.
So anyway, I just wanted to plant that out there and let you guys ruminate on it for some time in the future.
Would you replace place all 4 towers in at the same time, or would you?
Yeah, they would need to, the study that they did was they looked at our mountain and determine where they would need to be so that everything could talk to itself
Okay.
and make it down here to the office.
You do need physical line of sight. Towers to talk to each other, towers to talk to mothership, and then each meter talk to the towers. All of those have to have line of sight.
What are you gonna do for, no, never mind, the battery operated.
I have a question on Alpine and this Blue Ridge. None of that had to do with Circle V coming in and digging anything up. Okay.
No, that one was just was Thanksgiving and it was time for it to happen.
Naturally. Holiday.
Thank you.
I've got one quick question. Did any update on the PFAS stuff?
I haven't heard from the state. Like it's really brand new. I'm not sure. It's like a hot potato right now. There. And you know, they're not gonna push super hard on us, I don't think. You know, we were cooperative and proactive in our approach to this thing. And we've been nothing but cooperative with them. So we still, well three is still offline. You know, we're not experiencing a production issue because of it. You know, our district engineer has been really looking into some stuff since he found out we have it. You know, he has got some experience in looking at the way water moves underground from some previous places that he's worked. What he would like to know is, you know, it's like a plume underground and it'll move. You know, in 5 years, is it still going to be here? Are we on the front of the plume, the middle of the plume, the back of the plume? And where did it come from? Those are things he would like to figure out, whether or not we could ever figure that out without a ton of money for the kind of wells that need to be drilled to figure that out. I don't know if that'll happen, but you know, he's definitely looked at some possible ways to take that out. Nothing's inexpensive. So there could be something like that that develops over the next several years with the state. They've got to figure out what they want to do with it.
I'm not sure the state's thought this all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, they're being pushed by the EPA, but you know, without having concrete ways to move forward and if it moves underground, they did say that they're seeing it in the alluvial plain well systems like we have here, more so than surface water systems, which is interesting to me. But if you think about it, let's say there was some of it in the Pine River and it went past Corey's place in one day. Whereas down in the ground, that stuff can get trapped and be grabbed onto. So there is some different parameters for each kind of system. But yeah, nothing's happened with them so far. They haven't called us for retesting. We are going to try to replace some PVC in the chlorination system because apparently PVC has quite a bit of it in it.
Yeah, what are the tanks lined with?
The tanks?
Yeah.
They're bolted steel and I think glass lined. I think the two newest ones are.
But we're not reading it in our tanks, we're reading it in our wells.
Yeah, they're in what's coming from the wells.
And keep, I mean, PFAS is scary and all, but it's not gonna kill you overnight. It's continuous consumption over
Your lifetime.
60, 80 years. So people can take a breath. It's being addressed, but it's not life threatening at the moment.
Thanks.
Unless you've been here.
It hasn't been here for that long. It hasn't been here for your lifetime. That's the thing. That's all I really have unless you guys have some more Well, we are seeing the temperatures drop here, that's what I'm saying. If we start seeing those really cold temperatures coming in that influent again, there's a good chance we'll be in violation. But we'll see what the winter brings. I'll count on it.
Any other questions? From Mark? That takes us to, Director of Roads and Rec, Open Space, Maintenance, Daryl.
Pretty much getting ready for. Excuse me, sorry. We repaired a couple more broken cracks and welds on the main, on the plow for P5. We did have to repair a plow cylinder on that mid-range that we have from, it got damaged last year during the plowing. We've done dog pots, emptied out trash around the lake. We went around the district and marked any, like, we have a bunch of stumps from trees being cut down on the side of the road. Those are usually a hazard and tear up our plows pretty bad in the winter time. So we marked all those, got those good line of sight for those. Fixed, see, we installed the wing on the motor grader, so it's ready to go whenever we need it, if we need it. Put the cameras on the back of the 550 so we don't bang those spreader box, the spreader itself. We don't bang into those and get those knocked off. We had a meeting with La Plata County Sheriff's Office, and the attorney over towing procedures, which got there. The driving our routes, getting prepared for that. So that way they're aware of any hazards or anything around the district that may damage plows or may hurt someone or property, someone's property. We helped them with the leak on Blue Ridge. Durango handyman has repaired the roof. It was fixed. We need to put the stops or the cleats on there. Finish with that. We'll have to get that.
That's, you guys are doing that, or?
Yeah, that was,
Okay.
yeah, that was ours. They don't have anything like that to match. We can make it match. All it is aluminum iron. Just wait on material.
Are you
We have
happy?
some, but not enough.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Are you happy with the
Yes.
work?
Did a great job. I
Was-
think they did.
Was there internal mold, any serious damage that wasn't expected or?
I don't think it was.
Cut and dry.
Yeah, it was pretty dry, but it.
They did get in there and look around too.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
They did replace they replaced two, not just the one that had a hole in it. There was another one that did have some water damage to it. And they changed that one out, so.
Yeah.
Trucks are operational. 3 of our 4 state plow trucks are operational, and ready to plow. We were still not able to find those solenoids. I checked with the place that I was, had a lead for. And not find them. If you can find them. Shit.
Hold on, rest of you for me.
Yep. So we haven't been able to find those. I know you did ask me what the cost would be. I can give you an estimate, but it's not gonna be anything probably close because I don't know what I would need on footage for the hoses and everything else to run that up. So I'm gonna have, a guy named Vandergrift Diesels. He's out of Durango. I'm gonna have him come out and look at it. He said he's gonna try to find a time that's good for him. He's been very busy, so, whenever he can get out there and talk to us, he'd be the best guy. That's who everybody told me to send out there, so. Just a reminder, the trash and slash area will be closed on the 22nd and the 25th. We'll reopen on the 26th. We will be open on the 23rd from 8 to 5, so he's recording. Sorry for any meetings.
Will we be updating the website with that information? 'Cause
Then we've already put flyers in, we got by
Thanksgiving is still listed on the website.
but we have it on the front door, we have it down at the gate.
Yeah, currently, all the people in Rome have their CDLs.
Right.
Already trying to get everyone on CDLs.
He's got them going to trainings.
And we are, I'm assuming was in the clearinghouse with those being pulled in for landings and all that stuff. And
People that have CPS.
very good.
Are you ready to do a presentation on this following aid list? That information yet, or?
No, it wasn't made for that at all.
No,
I just
we just
see what
gave
we
it
were
to-
talking.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you wanted to do anything on that yet, or we can wait
That
on
was
it.
something I threw together pretty quick. I didn't
Nice.
really do a whole lot of work on that, so no, not really.
I get you, well, when the time comes, I like the way
Well,
it's
sound
going.
good, you're all right.
Maybe next
I'm
month,
good. Speaking is not my strongest suit.
You're doing quite well.
January.
Oh.
We can do it in January.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, get that done.
get it, we can get it, at least get it on the agenda.
I don't know, we see you laughing.
Yeah, if it's something you're like,
I think it's a good
Yeah.
idea, so,
yeah, for December will work good.
yeah, we can do it, that sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do about moving forward or something like that, then. At least get it out there and about and talk about it, so that'd be good. Okay, so that will take us, does anybody have any questions for Daryl? Thanks, Daryl.
Oh, yes, signage. How about the signage?
You want that now or with the?
For what?
Are you talking about the signage?
Sign for out
In
front
front
here?
of the building.
I will order that. I have not ordered that yet, but I was expecting more snow to come in, so I wasn't expecting to be able to get to ground level to put that in, so. But I will go ahead and get it locked in and get the sign, that way we don't have to pay any, increase. Inflation, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the word.
Okay, let's go ahead and move forward then to new business. Let's see. Scott, are you gonna do the
Sure.
presentation on the board
Sure.
committee stuff?
So we, when, Dexel, left the board, that had some vacancies on committees. I know, you and Steve had kind of flip-flopped on some board assignments. We have Mr. Evans with us now, who, huh?
Webb.
Webb.
That's a
Webb Evans. Okay, that's my bad. Webb. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. That's really bad. I'm sorry. So you guys can either just appoint him to open positions. You can go through and redo your appointments if you want to have that discussion. I kind of left it open-ended as to what you guys want to do. I'm not sure if you guys want to revisit who's doing what, or just assign them to the open places, or.
I would love to have somebody else on the budget committee with me.
You're all alone.
I'm alone. And I'm not a mathematician, and I see you guys doing all these numbers and everything, and I would love to have somebody who,
That was a position where Steve was on.
Okay.
Yeah. He was on, the budget committee, and then we did a switch for personnel and recreation. Do you have a preference on?
I mean, like, anywhere you guys need help, I'm open to either or.
Any other?
Pick
preference?
one.
Two.
Budget and personnel.
Is everybody good with that? Does anybody want to change anything? So Chris, we will probably put you on the budget and personnel then.
Right.
Okay?
were you gonna say something?
Not yet, no.
And this can be
First,
changed.
yeah, I just have the feeling, first year, like this is, yeah. So that's why I'm kind of biting my tongue, right? Just new to me stuff. So I believe I'll definitely change after this election, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. I think we can change committees at any time if we wanted to change up or whatever. We'll just make that announcement as necessary, update, stuff like that.
Okay.
So at this time,
Chris, you'll go ahead and pick up the positions where Steve was originally assigned to, okay, at this time? Everybody in agreement?
Yep.
Do we have to make a motion on that one?
If you'd like to, if you're good with that, then I'm good with it.
Oh,
I think that needs a motion.
okay. I think we're good with that then. Thanks, Chris, appreciate that. That takes us down to, the audit service.
We, have an auditor right now, Ray, and Co. out of Timnath, Colorado. They're performing our fiscal year 22 audit. I think it would be very wise for this board to retain them as well to complete your fiscal year 23 audit. That is what this service agreement is for. It is gonna cost less a little bit than the 22 audit because hopefully we've cleaned up a bunch of stuff. And you have, so it shall not exceed 14,500, and we have budgeted 15,000. Other than that, there's not any difference between the two service agreements, what we're under right now, and what we'll do for fiscal year 23 audit.
I have a question about this letter. So this was for when he did the 2022, agreed to do the 2022 budget, right? September 26th, 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need another one
No,
for 2023? And then he said on page 2, they will use third-party services. Do we receive copies of those third-party services agreements, or is that?
It's their subs. But we haven't used third parties in our current audit, and I would not assume that we need to do third parties. We're not a very complicated audit. So that's if you're gonna be looking at like federal payroll stuff and stuff like that, they may bring in somebody.
Okay.
And then we're just gonna get cleaner as we go forward with everything. No, you know we are, but yeah, that, I mean, that kind of goes without, yeah. That's why we're doing everything we have, right?
And then page 3, audit procedures, 4th paragraph down. You agree to assume all management responsibilities. That's you, correct?
Yep. Everyone
You
good?
good with that then?
Think so.
So we'll make a motion here to approve of the auditing service agreement between the district and the Ray and Co. For the performance of the FY 23 audit. We want to second that?
Yes, you need a motion, sir.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So there, you'll all agree. That takes us to new business. Number C, regarding the web.
Yeah, sorry to drop this on you at a meeting. It's not something I want to do, but we talked to you guys a little while ago about switching our website to a provider called Civic Plus. Civic Plus does hundreds and hundreds of websites around the United States for municipalities and small governments. Just in the area, there are Bayfield, Durango, Cortez, Pagosa Springs, Telluride, Jefferson County, Fort Collins. There's a lot of the reason this is in a hurry to get to you is because they will lop off 50% of the cost if we join before December 22nd, I believe. I called them today, said, can we get an extension on that to January? They said no. With that information, Shauna has done yeoman's work on this, learning about the product. She has looked at other potential products. I've worked with Civic Plus often. I've really liked them, but she can fill you in on what she has found. Shauna, do you have anything you'd like to add right now?
I think bottom line is it's intuitive. It's easy to use for us office staff as well as residents. And it really gives us exactly what you guys have been wanting. A depository of information that's easy to find, it's navigatable, and it also allows us to give control to notifications to the residents. So we set the categories of different notifications, whether that's road closures, a water leak, disconnection of services, parks and rec, whatever sort of notification we want. And then from the website, residents sign up for those themselves. And they'll have the option to be notified through email or through text messaging. It's a really nice website. Like Guy mentioned, it would be a lot like what Bayfields is now. And I think it's exactly what you as a board and residents have been saying they've wanted for a long time. It is quite a bit more expensive than what we currently have, but it also gives us way more options than what we currently have as well. And as Guy mentioned, I looked at other websites and designers and things like that, and this was a better cost and a better platform. They know what they're doing. They will help us. They will do all of the work, honestly. We just have to be trained on how to use it and give them the information that we want on the new website. They do all the hard work. I don't need to be a computer whiz or some sort of coder to make changes on the website. It's as easy as posting on social media. It's super easy for me and residents.
This, this $550 for the text messaging, that's yearly, right? Or is that monthly?
That's yearly. That's the annual price. And that's not something we have to do. The text messaging capability of it is an extra. We could just do email, but we've talked about text messaging so much. But that is an add-on option. So if you guys wanted to have the website without text message capability, that is totally possible.
No, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a monthly charge.
No, sir, that's annually.
Any other questions? I see that the staff recommends approval on this.
I do. I will.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the statement of work, quote number Q 59669-1, with Civic Plus. All in favor? Aye. Go ahead. And I can see the paperwork here potentially for signature.
Yep. For the signature. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you.
Jonathan, for the work that
Appreciate
she's
you
done.
guys doing.
Again, apologize for dropping in your lap. Second, we wanted to get that 50% discount.
Okay, now we go to new business number 9D regarding the time of the Forest Lakes Metro board meeting, changing the time from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the future, starting in January.
Put it out for 4 p.m. Is that still?
Where did I be?
It was one of those that we added at the end.
Oh, okay.
9D. Okay. That was one that we added to the agenda.
Just because we've talked about it so much. And I know I got staff that drives.
Yeah, this is
way.
crazy. Yes.
So, but yeah, we just recommend it starts at 6 instead of 7. However, I think you guys do need a motion to do this. So.
I think starting at 6 still gives the public plenty of time to.
Get home, have dinner.
You know, have dinner, turn on Zoom and watch us.
At this time, yeah, it's gotta be a little easier for our employees. This is gonna be 9 o'clock at work. And that's an early night, so. I'll make a motion. So I make a motion that we change our starting time for the board from 7 to 6 p.m. Starting January's meeting of this next coming year.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys coming so much. This helps a lot. They're able to answer our
When I
questions.
can get to my kids' gymnastics, it won't hold.
So now we've got, number 10 is discussion items regarding the district snow event policy and protocol.
Okay, we put a lot of work into this. So I hope it is reflected well. We did have a good conversation with the Sheriff's Department, our legal counsel, and a tow company provider and staff. So we've adopted a few things we want to talk to you about. First of all, is the snow event parking. That's nothing new, but we kind of wanted to formalize it. So we want to put signage in half the school bus parking area as well as the area outlet in the service road. When we have larger snow events, we want to have signs up there that we can flip over that says snow parking. We are trying to keep people who have vehicles that aren't good at handling the mountain in heavy snow events off our right of way so they don't stall out and we can get through. Or if they're just uncomfortable driving the mountain, then somebody else can come down and get them. But it's a place that they can park, that we aren't going to ticket them, that everybody, the sheriff knows it's there for a certain reason. And we feel that that's a good way of handling vehicles that may not be able to pass easily. So we've talked a lot about signage. We handed out some copies of signage that we were looking at. But that's one of the things we want to do. When we get to tow protocols, so how we're going to do this, you no longer are going to be required to give 4 warnings over 20, every 24 hours or something. We can tow immediately if it's a health, safety, welfare issue. So when a vehicle is identified as being in the district's right of way and creating a health, safety, and welfare hazard, the staff, whoever it is, will take a picture of the vehicle with their phone, hopefully kind of demonstrate that it is in the right of way. We will record the make, model, color, license plate, other distinguishing information, and then the address is where it's located at. That information goes to a department head or the district manager. So only the department heads and district manager can call these in. Okay. We wanted to put some sort of check immediately to staff level to make sure that what we're doing is all right. We are very cognizant of the fact that we're towing people's vehicles, right? We want to avoid doing that. We want to avoid mistakes. So that's the first check that we put in. What happens there then is either the department director or the district manager will then call La Plata Sheriff's Dispatch and relay all the pertinent information. From that point in time, we're out. Okay. I've been informed that the sheriff has given instruction. Let's see, the district is informed their directive has been issued to patrol deputies to treat any snow event tow request within the district the same as that coming from the county road and bridge department or CDOT. So they are going to probably send somebody out here to look at it, but they're trying to expedite this process as fast as they can. Okay. Let's see. After vehicle has been reported to dispatch, the district is effectively out of the process. The tow request is put in the queue for revolving tow dispatch procedures that are followed by the sheriff's department. So they have, like, I think 6 tow companies under contract that they revolve. Now, when we're giving the information and location, we may also say, hey, this looks like we're going to need a 4-wheel drive vehicle to get up here. And so that may change who's in the queue to do the pickup. But again, that's just information we're giving the sheriff's department, and the sheriff will then put it into their rotation. The vehicle will be towed at the owner's expense. Retrieve their vehicle, they will call dispatch, and then they'll be informed which company has towed their vehicle and where it is located. The sticky issue that we ran into with tow providers is if they get a vehicle and it's abandoned, they end up with it. If they don't have it through law enforcement, the original call, then they have to pay thousands of dollars to get these state mandated documents that show ownership and VIN numbers and all that stuff. But if it goes through the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department is the one that makes the call, then they don't have to pay any of those costs. They just get the information from the sheriff's department like they would for any other tow. Okay. So again, it keeps us out of it. And so again, I say we are not going to be giving multiple warnings. The goals of these protocols is to remove vehicles away from impeding the right of way as soon as possible.
Health, safety and welfare.
Health, safety and welfare is our mantra. Okay.
Yes.
So knowing that, we are going to put in a big effort in communicating. First thing is signage. We want signs at the bus stop and Service Road indicating snow event parking. We want signs at the entryway and on Loop Road indicating no parking on district roads or property unless otherwise posted. You have one or two of those. We want to put more out. Signs at the entry of the district and at least 2 locations on the Loop Road indicating that vehicles will be towed at owner's expense. And then signs saying who to call in case you have been towed. And then we'll have that on our website and information. Try to get that out. And then we are having this discussion with you guys. If you are cool with this and okay it, then we are going to do a direct mail into this week. It'll go to every citizen's mailbox here in the district that will talk about these policies. We're going to put flyers up at the post office. We'll put our information on the district website. We'll put it out on district social media. I know there's Facebook pages and all that stuff. We want that information out there. And then a press release to local media. But we really want to do our part to inform the citizens that we are towing sooner rather than later. It's for health, safety, welfare reasons. And everybody help your neighbors out, right? So if your neighbors live in a driveway that they have to come up and it's very hard for them to get out, be a good neighbor and offer your driveway that goes downhill across the road. They can park there for 24 hours so they get a running start to get out of there. If people need rides from the areas down below up to the upper top, talk to your neighbors. Neighbors try to help neighbors because you all live here together. And you all know what it's like driving these 10 and 12 and 13% roads in the middle of winter. When it's slick out, when it's dark out. We're just asking for everybody's cooperation in making this passable. We hope we never have to call it a view. That is our goal.
Wonderful.
That'd be wonderful. But if we do have to, these are the protocols we're following.
Very good.
Is there any questions? And I don't think you guys need to take a vote on this. We want to inform you about it, but any questions?
Is there a comment there on the?
No, it looks like we would.
I have one too.
Photos of the sides of the vehicles of the district. Talking about us taking.
Oh, yeah,
pictures.
pictures, yeah, absolutely. Good idea.
Is there another location we could potentially look at that's not the bus stop?
You're right. We thought that was close, relatively level. Everybody drives by it, but
We've had that opened up to in the past. The last 2 years it was made where that was designated as safe parking area. The problem that we had with it was the vehicles, when people were pulling in there, they were just pulling in there all kinds of different ways. That's why if there was a smaller section of that bus route, because typically they only use half the bus route anyway for loads of kids. So if the other half was made for people to park for snow plowing or for a snow event, maybe it would incline them more to parallel park in there, so that way we're not having to plow zigzags around the.
yeah, and we will put up signs that says, please park and do it perpendicularly so that we don't have this checkerboard of vehicles.
What about, moving the, soccer nets and using that area over there?
I think we have to be more inclined to get them trapped in there
Um,
because it's gonna be snow on soft stuff.
Even if
Yeah.
we tried to plow, we would get stuff.
I think, yeah. So these are relatively hard topped.
Yeah.
They're relatively out of the way. They're down low, they're relatively flat. We just thought, and everybody kind of uses them already. We just kind of want to formalize it a little bit without getting too formal.
We've seen cars that have been there for days and days and days. How are you gonna handle
We have
this?
signs in place for 48-hour parking.
And if we have to expend it, yeah, if it's, I mean, we're not gonna be idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So look, if we got a 3 or 4 day event and we put up 48-hour snow parking, we're just gonna leave that sign up. But once this event is over, we want signs that we either turn around or close up or whatever, so that it doesn't indicate parking anymore.
Yeah.
And we want people to be smart and get their vehicles up. If we have another 3 days and the vehicle's still there, we're gonna find a way to contact them.
Yeah.
I would be extremely mad if I came in and came home and seen my vehicle towed. I don't want to have to do that to anybody, but last year we had people parking on the emergency route. And we could plow around them. And we ticketed them 3 times and then they move it on the 3rd day and then put it right back out there the next time, so.
Yeah. Okay.
And like you said, even comes to this, it's ridiculous.
The neighbors helping neighbors is, like, there's a lot of new people. Like, just reach out to your neighbors as a community member. I'm telling other community members, reach out to your neighbors, help your neighbors. And I know there's one board member in particular that on snowstorms looks at Facebook and has pulled out numerous people with a winch and tow straps. Reach out to people, just ask. There's gonna be people helping when it comes down to snow events. You don't need to leave it in the middle of the road.
Are you looking at getting signs like they have on passes where it's just a hinge thing and you can just open it up?
That would be able to turn it around to get it up there and secure real quick and take it off.
Yeah.
But we want to have it so that it is, so that we can change it from snow event parking to.
Okay.
However, we decide to do that. And then you saw some of the examples of some of the other signage we put around the area.
Yeah.
But we want to do our part to make sure we want to sneak attacking anybody.
Right.
So we want the signs up there. We want the numbers to be able to call.
Communication is
Communication.
huge.
But I've been really impressed by the sheriff's department and their help, the staff. We had a great meeting, I think, with them. This took longer to figure out than I was expecting, but our goal was we didn't want the district to cover any costs. We wanted to be able to react in health, safety, welfare issues. It's not just getting, and people have to realize this, it's not just getting you to work or your kids to school. It's when you're having a heart attack, we need to get emergency services to you as well.
Yes.
So it is a two-way street, so to speak, when it comes to clearing our roads, and that's why we're putting all this.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So if you guys are all cool with this, this is what we will pursue. If you guys have any
Is everybody
concerns.
good with that at this point? Yep. Good.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, yes, everybody's
And
good.
again,
Thank you.
thank the staff
Thanks
and
for all
thank
your-
the sheriff's department and everybody.
Yes. That takes us to number 11, approval of disbursements.
Yeah, check register dated November 1st through November 30th in the amount of $157,219.66. I motion to approve that with an adjustment for the website and the meeting. Check number 26911 was voided and is not in the packet. So we need to make sure that that is reflected. So I motion to approve the disbursement.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So be it. That's approved. Thank you. That being said, anything else at this point? Then I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn, and the time is 9:08. Second. Done. All in favor? Good. Thank you. Thanks,
guys.
everyone. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all the information that you shared with us. It's nice to have you answer our questions.